But this kind of seems like it kind of links into what you were saying before about kind of you'd rather know like the truth than remain blissfully ignorant. But by pressing the button, someone else does it for you.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong here, but it kind of feels like you're choosing the blissful ignorance because you know that you wouldn't want to do it if it was you.
Yeah, I guess I am. Yeah, would you look at that, guys? We're really not that consistent at all. Yeah, that's true.
Well, something to think about. I mean, I appreciate I'm putting you on the spot here.
No, that's cool because it's, I'm not going to be like, change my answers now. Yeah, you caught me. That's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, my goal isn't to get like a gotcha moment. I
I
really appreciate that you've been
quite
like
enlightening, actually.
Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I really appreciate.
More econ, that kind of stuff. But
Econ.
no, yeah. Let me know your channel or check it out.
Oh yeah, we'll do.
Econ, economics, finance, interest rates.
Oh.
I love that shit.
Cool. Oh man.
Yeah.
That's probably like that's
Yeah.
good that you love that because to me that seems really dry. But I don't know anything about economics.
Yeah, no, of course. At the same time with animal ethics.
Yeah, you're like who gives a fuck?
No. We'll see. Yeah.
Cool. In focus and everything. Okay, so like I said, not trying to change your mind, but it'd be good at the start to get maybe on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being that you're completely fine with society's consumption of animals and animal products, and 10 being that you think that what we're doing to animals today is really bad and you'd like to see a complete shift to veganism. On a 0 to 10, where would you put yourself on that?
Somewhere in the middle. I'd say a 4 or 5, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, on the one hand, you've got the idea that, at the end of the day, we got to eat.
Yeah.
Some of us like to eat, the same foods that we were brought up with, so chicken, pork, this, that, and the other, while also still understanding that some of the methods behind the production of these, behind this food, is the way that I see it, is, let's say, unethical, unsustainable, not nice once you get to understand how these animals are treated, right? The way we get a chicken free range at the store today is obviously pumped full of whatever nutrients or, quote-unquote chemicals that make it grow faster. That's not appetizing, but at the same time, I'm in the middle because what else could we do just to kind of get rid of that in an ideal world? Or, we can talk about veganism and, treating them nicer or, creating more farmlands to make the production more ethical, however you define that. But personally, quite moderate.
Right.
Yeah.
So kind of, it seems like there might be some kind of like necessity to do this, but you're also aware that like the way in which it's done could perhaps be unethical, which is why you're not at a 0 and you're at like a 4 or 5.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
Like I'm wondering what you've seen or like heard of that makes you think that the practices to animals might be unethical.
Yeah, I guess though the first thing that comes to mind is the idea of chicken farms and kind of producing as many chickens, as fat chickens, as big a chicken as we can to service everyone else. And at the end of the day, I might believe that to be unethical because I'm still eating the chicken. So whatever goes in the chicken goes into me by the law of physics or whatever that is. If you eat corn, I guess I'm eating a salad at the end of the day, sorry. Nevertheless, I haven't got that much information specifically on what makes it disgusting to me, unethical or ethical. I just know that when it comes to mass production, you don't exactly have the most free range farm-like production methods behind the chicken, for example, that we eat.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things that you kind of commonly hear that like factory farming is like quite unethical and bad, but maybe there isn't all that like specific information about like what's actually happening to animals.
Yeah, so I know it's not very organic, but the extent to which I can argue against that, I mean, I know I still eat the chicken or the pork that I buy from the store. It's not all free range, it's not all organic, because for me, the price is too high.
Right.
But I still understand that, the production methods behind it just, could be better for sure. But they are what they are, and, that's what I purchased though.
I'm wondering if you've ever had a personal connection to an animal.
No, I've only had fish in the past. No, definitely not. Like the only pet that I've had in the past were fish. And like when I went for holidays with my parents, I'd come back to an empty bowl. They'd say that the fish evaporated. I was young enough and stupid enough to believe that. Eventually finding out they were flushed down the toilet. I'm not good with animals or plants. I shouldn't be saying this, but I managed to kill my own cactus that I had before. I don't know how that's possible, but personally, I have no connection to animals. Not in the past. I mean, I like dogs, but that's not the same as deeply caring for the production methods behind the food that we eat.
Yeah. I'm wondering like what your opinion is on like the capacities of animals, like their capacity to suffer, or like whether they're sentient or conscious.
Man. I mean, can they suffer? Yeah, if you kick one hard enough, for sure. But, the extent to which you should factor that into your own production methods, I think is quite reasonable. I mean, I don't know which animals are sentient, which are not. Does an animal get sad if you kick it? I'm pretty sure it does.
Right.
So should we stab it and inject it with all sorts of chemicals and test on it? I don't know. That's debatable, but
Have you ever seen an animal suffer?
Maybe in the wild on TV shows,
Right.
that kind of stuff. But see it suffering in front of me, I don't think so. I've got some. I'm from Poland, and I've got family and friends in the northeast of Poland, wherein there is a lot of agricultural land, and so I've got some family in farming. So I've seen animals suffer through more natural causes, some diseases or whatever, but never, bloody and beaten.
Right.
That kind of suffering, but suffering through nature one way or another.
Yeah.
So yeah.
When you've seen it on like a TV show,
Yeah.
say if you've seen an animal being like eaten alive
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something, can you remember how that makes you feel when you see it?
I mean, I guess the right answer is kind of sad. It sucks to see it get killed, but at the end of the day, it's it's what happens in the wild. So it's realistic, it's natural. It's, in my opinion, neither good or bad. Yeah, it sucks. Obviously, I wouldn't want to get eaten either. But it makes, at least how I perceive it, me realize how nature works, let's say.
Right. You say it's neither good nor bad.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we said like if a human was being like eaten,
Yeah.
would you say that was bad? Or would you say that's
I
I mean
think-
it is, I agree it's nature, but I guess I don't know if it being nature determines whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, if it's not nature, it's our own perception of what good and bad should be.
Sure.
So I guess when I say good or bad, I try and get in, I kind of showcase on my own philosophy in terms of there being no good or bad. Sure, I can tell you if that makes me
Right.
feel nice or not nice, but ultimately it's an event that's happening. I mean, if a lion is eating some sheep, then, I don't think sheep are and stuff, and whatever. Yeah, it's neither good or bad.
Yeah, like there's no like in nature there is no like way it ought to be. It just is, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. I'd agree more so with that. Other than that, wow, that's bad. That shouldn't happen. Let me go save that sheep. Let me go save that human.
Yeah.
Ideally, yeah, we wouldn't want anyone to die, but we need to kill to eat, I suppose.
Right. Would you rather that the animal didn't suffer?
I'd rather. I mean, that's a very hypothetical question. I guess not, but is suffering good? I don't know. I like to suffer in my life. I find meaning in suffering, and I learn something from it, from like a tough challenge. Physical suffering at the gym, I don't know. That's the same. With an animal, for the purpose of what? For it to be killed and eaten by me? Yeah, sure. I'd like it to suffer. Not to maximize its suffering, but it's me being realistic. Like, hey, yeah, it's probably is suffering when it's being killed for me to eat. But I'm not gonna be a saint and be, try and emit that suffering, because at the end of the day, I'm still gonna consume it. So
Right.
I'm being realistic here, I guess.
Yeah. This is kind of like getting philosophical, but I'm kind of interested in like when you said that you like to suffer, and you gave like the example of like going to the gym.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, is it the suffering that you like? Is it like the unpleasant experience that you like, or is like the suffering instrumentally valuable because it gives you other things?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say I'm a sadist, but at the end of the day, you can find meaning in the suffering, and the suffering to be a means whereby you achieve some kind of goal. Like you work out, there's some muscular pain, and obviously it sucks to be there for like an hour and a half. It's mentally taxing, but then you teach yourself discipline.
Right.
You, I don't know, lose weight if you want to. You build a better body for yourself.
Yeah.
And again, for me, like, for example, with the idea of the gym, it's a mental challenge. Can I keep working out? Can I suffer for an hour so that then I can sit in the library for another couple of hours and exhaust myself mentally and write an essay, whatever it might be.
Right.
So suffering doesn't have to be there, but at the end of the day, if there is suffering, it's good to find some meaning in it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what that's got to do with animal ethics, but if anyone wants to read more about that, read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. So that's where the idea comes
Okay.
from, or the articulation of that idea.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I guess when it comes to like animal ethics, we could say, is when we inflict suffering on an animal, say if we're causing suffering in a slaughterhouse for meat,
Yeah.
is that benefit there? I'm wondering if animals are able to like get meaning out of their suffering, or if it's kind of meaningless.
Yeah, I mean, we find meaning from it, right? We find calories and protein.
And pleasure,
So,
I guess.
yeah, and some pleasure. Yeah, I like cooking and like eating. I guess, yeah, trying to transpose our own idea of what suffering should be and, onto that of the, animals for our own benefit. It's my selfish take on it, but Yeah.
I'm wondering if you think that the suffering we cause to animals for food, do you think that that is morally justified?
Yeah, it depends what kind of suffering, right? If I'm skinning a dog alive and then cooking it, maybe not. But if I'm doing it as ethically as possible in our, means of production today, justified? I mean, I guess so. If I get to eat, if I get to build a body, if I get to satiate myself and my family, then that justifies it for me. Universally, everyone's going to have a different answer.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm wondering, so we have like this spectrum of like on the one hand like skinning an animal alive,
Yeah.
on the other hand doing it as ethically as possible.
Yeah.
Where do you think we are as a society right now?
Yeah. I guess as a society, it's hard to say. Different production plants are different, different. But as for the UK, I don't know. We get food from everywhere. It's really hard for me to say. What I say in the middle, I do realize the extent to which I'm uninformed about it or misinformed. So I've got no idea, and I won't even answer that. You know.
I'm wondering if you were to find out that it's actually, hypothetically, let's say you find out that it's terrible.
Yeah.
Like animals are being kind of tortured on farms and in slaughterhouses. What would be the implications of finding that out for you? Would it change any of your other beliefs or anything, or behaviors?
Beliefs, I guess ultimately it might change my consumption pattern in terms of the way you treat an animal is probably somehow got a bad effect on the kind of quality of meat that you eat, maybe, and therefore I don't want poor quality meat with me. But for me as a student especially, it comes down to the price, and if I can get something for cheaper, I'll usually go for that. But at the same time, I'm not going to support slaughterhouses for the sake of slaughter and the evil from it, as opposed to, getting food for myself. So it's something that I take into consideration for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the animal suffering is one factor among many.
Many. Yeah. For sure. At this stage, right? When I've got the luxury of picking any kind of foods that I want, organic, not organic, this, that, and the other, price doesn't matter. Then sure, maybe I'll take that into more account than I do today.
Sure.
But for now, it's something that I'm aware of, and I'd like to be aware of, right? And I take it into consideration somewhat, but it's not the ultimate factor. It hasn't got a large weight in my basket.
When you say you'd like to be aware of it, why?
I like to understand the causes of things, ultimately, but it's just something that, again, I don't know much about, and I feel like if I knew more about the way that food is made, I'd be able to make a better decision on the food that I eat and ultimately fuel myself, let's say.
It would be more of an informed decision, I guess.
Yeah, at the end of the day, any decision that I make, I want it to be informed. And I know that when it comes to food, I look at it as calories and protein and the cost that I'm paying, and that's about it at the moment.
Right, yeah. I mean, I guess with this issue, like we talk about blissful ignorance, like it might be kind of nice not to know about what's happening to animals.
Yeah.
Does that factor in at all? Like, in some scenarios, it might be kind of unpleasant to learn about what's happening.
Sure, it's unpleasant, but that doesn't disregard the fact that you should know about it. I'm not the kind of person who is blissfully ignorant of many things in the world. So, personally, it's not something that I try and shy away from. But at the same time, it's not something that I actively search for and seek. So, in this middle ground where I've got other priorities, I still care about this, but until I take care of some other things, then I can only move on to that, right?
Right. But even if you knew that it was unpleasant, you would still rather know the truth of what's actually happening.
100%. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I'm wondering if you think there is a moral difference between a pig and a dog.
Okay. I don't think so. I mean, one is usually more in the house than the other, but, I do not think so, no. I mean, should we kill one and eat one and leave the other alone because it smiles and wags its tail at us? I don't know. I don't see any difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you say that inflicting pain to a pig is equally as bad, in the sense that we think it's bad, as inflicting pain onto a dog?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if I punch one, it's like punching the other. But in an apocalypse, I'd eat the pig first and not the dog. And where that comes from, I got no idea. Just the way I've been accustomed to know about our food chain. Right? The dog is at the home as a pet, the pig is a farm animal, that's it. Where else have I seen pigs? I don't know. Nowhere.
It seems that, like, generally speaking, we don't really question why we're eating one and not the other. It's kind of just taken as a given.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like myself, I grew up in Poland for the first couple of years of my life. our cuisine is, the way that I ate was focused around pork. We had a lot of pork, so for me it's just food, the way that I see it. And dog was at home and was guarding the farmland, whatever it might be. So that's kind of what I've grown to know, grown up in, and I guess that's why I'd eat the pig first in an apocalypse and then the dog.
And do you think that you'd empathize more with the pain of a dog compared to the pain of a pig?
Actually, yeah. Again, because I've seen the dog as more of a house pet, so it's more like a companion almost. If I would have a dog now, I don't have one now, but I still get the idea that it would suck more to see a dog get kicked as opposed to a pig on a farm by a farmer.
You see them more as an individual, and like a pig is kind of almost like abstract. We don't really know them as individuals.
Personalities. If you ask me, like you say, point blank about the moral differences. I mean, they're both animals, but just the way that I've grown up. Exactly. Yeah. It's just It's interesting.
Do you think there is any differences, any like morally relevant differences, like in their capacity to suffer or anything like that?
Not that I know of. No. No, that's I guess more of like a physiobiological question. Is it sentient? Is it not? I don't know, man. I can play with a dog for sure. I can't play with a pig. Not that I know of. No.
Do you think that it would be morally relevant whether you can play with one, as to whether it makes it better or worse to inflict harm? Let me give you like
I think it'd be easier to kick a pig because of it, but that doesn't mean it's morally,
Easier in what sense? Like
people will feel less bad for it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, here's a question for you. If we were to have grown up in a culture where we have piglets as pets and they're companions and we love them, and dogs and cats are being eaten, they're in slaughterhouses and factory farms, do you think that you would question whether we should be eating cats and dogs? Or do you think that would just be taken for a given and that's what we do?
Yeah, I mean, if I grew up in a world wherein you switch the word the dog and pig, I just grew up thinking, the pig is the pet and then the dog is the whatever else. Yeah. And then that's just how I've seen it. Yeah. I don't think we inherently know that one is more a pet than the other. I don't think so. Right. I think it's more we've been accustomed to that just because that's what we've seen.
Right. So would you agree that, or would it be fair to say that we're kind of behaving, we're paying for food that comes from like cows, pigs, chickens and cows, and it's essentially because we've been raised to do that, as opposed to making like an informed decision about which animals we want to eat.
Yes, but I guess so. I guess we've been raised on that because it's how society's built up on it. For some reason it's better to farm cows and pigs and chickens than dogs and cats and monkeys. I don't know.
Yeah. It's part of the culture.
Yeah, I guess part of just society. It's maybe like a kind of built-in momentum that we've had, and it's not easy to switch out the cows for the dogs right now. Yeah. That's just how it is, and so that's how it's going to be potentially. I don't know the benefits of farming cows over dogs, but I guess there is one.
A lot of us are kind of disgusted by the idea of eating dogs. Sure. It's like seen as morally disgusting. Yeah. So it is interesting that we have such different reactions to something that, as you say, is kind of morally the same.
Yeah, in my opinion, at least. Yeah. My humble opinion. Yeah.
No, I agree with you on that. I mean, I don't think there's like a difference that I know of in their sentience, capacity to suffer. Yeah. And I think that's the only morally relevant trait.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, just because something is less sentient, should we then kick it about?
No. But I think if it suffers less, I think causing less suffering is preferable to causing more suffering. If I have a choice between standing on a fly or standing on a human or a dog, and if I think the human's more sentient than the fly, then it would cause more suffering to stand on the human.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I think that they're equal as long as the suffering is the same, in my opinion. So I think the capacity to be sentient is important. It's like, this table isn't sentient that I know of, so it's fine. Yeah. I'll hit it.
You can just hit it.
But I wouldn't do that to you because you're sentient. I think you're sentient.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I can't confirm that.
Okay, I think that's pretty much it. I feel like I've taken you for at least 10 minutes.
It's been great.
Unless you've got any other thoughts about the topic.
Oh no! At the beginning I had no thoughts. Right now you've begun questioning me, and I'm like, there's something up there.
Yeah, there's quite a lot you've thought about here.
Yeah. In an abstract sense.
Yeah. Well, we don't see these animals. We're not like seeing them being killed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to have like real examples of like.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's kind of like we have to get a bit abstract, but then.
Yeah, we're talking theoretically, right?
Yeah.
Just some experiences that I've had as a kid in the farmlands in Poland. That's somewhere up there.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean much.
Okay. Yeah. I guess my last question for you would be then on a scale of 0 to 10 again, with 0 being that you think our use and treatment of animals is fine and you don't want to see any changes, and 10 being that on the other end of the spectrum you think we should absolutely shift towards a vegan society in the future. Where would you put yourself on that scale?
Still a 5,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like to be clear, is it if you were to find out that animals were like suffering terribly on factory farms and in slaughterhouses, would that shift you on the scale?
I'd question the source. Suffering. I mean, I don't know. That's very. That's how I approach these topics. I'm gonna question the source before I then. I want to determine what they mean by suffering.
So like I guess like unpleasant experiences.
Okay. If they've
I'm
got
wondering what would be the most convincing thing that would shift you on that scale? What would you need to see?
Oh man, I'm stubborn. What would convince me the most? Probably the price, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's cheaper to be a vegan, hell, I'll be a vegan. If I can get my protein intake, I don't know.
If let me to make this hypothetical where we switch things around, right?
Yeah.
So let's imagine that we're living in a vegan society.
Okay.
Factory farms are shut down.
Yeah.
Slaughterhouses are shut down. It's seen as like a terrible thing to inflict violence onto an animal, like it is on a child. That's the society we're in.
Okay.
Would you have a desire to? Would you press a button to create factory farms and slaughterhouses where animals are being, bred, farmed, and killed? Do you think that would be a good thing to do?
I mean, if it makes me a better human, if it makes my body stronger to eat animals as opposed to plants and stuff, maybe. But I'm a little bit indifferent to what I have in terms of the way I see food right now. It's the nutrients that I'm taking in, I'm fueling my body.
Yeah.
Whether that comes from a cow or a banana, then that's more so irrelevant. But
in terms of like the ethics of it, would you wonder about whether there's like some kind of problem being created for the animals?
Right. Yeah. I keep thinking of myself. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you're a human. It's normal.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't just want to go back to the system where animals are getting killed and caged. But would you not think that soon enough people are going to start asking the same questions about plants?
I think it's good to ask those questions, and I think that we should absolutely try and find out whether they're sentient. If a being is sentient, I think we should want to know about it. Otherwise, we could be inflicting really bad harm onto someone.
Could be a never-ending cycle, I guess. But
I think.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't go back to a meat-eating society, to a factory farm production, chicken caged up in a cage.
You wouldn't want to go back to that.
Nah, I mean, if life as a vegan society or whatever was fine, sure, whatever. Very hypothetical, but yeah.
Right. So, like in that scenario,
actually, I do like the taste of meat, so I would go back if it's not perfectly replicated. Yeah, why not?
Okay. Even if it was causing a lot of suffering to animals.
Sure. Yeah.
Because of the sensory pleasure.
Yeah. I made steak tacos yesterday. They were fucking amazing. So yeah, I wouldn't want to quit those.
Yeah. So I'm wondering there's so many different routes I could go down here, but I'm wondering what the balance is here, because you value taste pleasure like we all do.
Yeah, for sure.
But you do care about chickens in cages and you do care about animal suffering.
Yeah, in terms of the quality of the food that I eat, I suppose, yeah.
Oh, but do you also care for the suffering of the animals in and of itself, or is that not a
little bit of an unnecessary suffering? We could go without that, but yeah.
Yeah. But there's probably some kind of scale, right? Where let me ask you this hypothetical. So, and if you want to leave, feel free to do so, because I don't usually go on this long, but I'm kind of interested.
This is chill. I'm gonna have to, do some readings otherwise.
So, if you had to choose between inflicting a 10-minute mad headache onto a human, or inflicting, the worst torture imaginable for a year to a pig,
okay.
Which would you choose?
10-minute headache for a human.
You'd cause the 10-minute headaches for humans.
Yeah, it's a 10-minute headache.
Yeah.
As opposed to a year of torture.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And if you had to choose between, say, causing 10 minutes 10 minutes of moderate pleasure to a human, and like a life of suffering, and then a death,
Yeah.
which would you choose there?
That's a good one. Damn it. I mean, I gotta stay consistent and say 10-minute pleasure to a human with the suffering or the
So if you
Yeah.
sorry, I probably didn't word that right, because
Right,
I came up with it on the spot, but you know what I mean.
yeah, because you tricked me. You kind of got me, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't actually plan that. It just happened.
Yeah.
So are you saying that you would choose to cause the moderate 10-minute pleasure, and even in doing so, you would cause the life of suffering for the animal, if that was the case?
But as opposed to what? Because
As opposed to not causing the pleasure or the suffering.
okay, yeah. I mean, god damn, yeah. I mean, if it's my pleasure, yeah, hell yeah, I'm gonna take the pleasure. If it's not mine, then nah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Do you think that whether you're the being experiencing pleasure, does that make a morally relevant difference?
Morally, I don't know. Maybe logically, I don't know. I don't think it should. I think that's just me being quite selfish, provocative. I don't know, but yeah. For me, it makes a difference. If I'm the one receiving the pleasure or feeling the pain, as opposed to someone else, yeah, of course.
Yeah. But like, if we're talking like abstract here, I'm wondering if we can kind of try and imagine that there's a button in front of you, right?
Yeah.
And you press it, and you go, you get like some pleasure.
Yeah.
For like 10 minutes, like, that feels nice.
But a pig is getting tortured for a year.
Yeah, let's say a pig gets tortured for 6 months in a factory farm,
Yeah.
and they die like in a very painful way,
Yeah.
where they're like suffocating or something.
Jesus.
Yeah.
They suffocate pigs in farms, or did you make that up?
No, they suffocate in gas chambers in the UK,
Okay.
and it's quite terrible. But you don't need to take my word for it. I can show you. I can send you some links.
No, that's okay. I can, yeah.
But like, let's say for the sake of argument that was happening in this hypothetical.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that you would press that button? Right.
Yeah. Because it's similar to what we're doing each and every day. If I'm
Yeah.
making a pork sandwich, then that's exactly what's happening. So I'm not gonna not press the button, knowing that's what I do.
Right.
you know?
But I guess in everyday life you're feeling quite disconnected from that process.
Yeah, but now that you told me about it, I'm still gonna do it because
You
I
are?
am gonna do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What if you had to say if you were drowning the pig? You know, you're drowning the pig, and you feel pleasure.
No. I feel pleasure from a sandwich, not killing the pig. Yeah.
But
I
like-
wouldn't press that button if I had to be the one to murder the goddamn pig.
If you had to murder the pig yourself.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you use the word murder because a lot of people don't use that word for animals.
Well, I mean, what else are you gonna say? Just like
Euthanize.
euthanize. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. It's like, what are you euthanize the pig, bro. No.
Yeah, if you had to do it yourself,
Yeah.
you wouldn't do it.
Yeah. No way. I'd feel bad. But since I'm paying someone to do it, that's a whole different thing. Yeah, that's true and funny. Well,
Yeah, I don't
ironical. I don't know.
Yeah, it's ironic because
Yeah.
I guess we would probably agree that whether you're the one doing it, that doesn't make a difference to the pig.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. But it makes a difference to me, right? Because
Yeah.
it makes me feel better about the stuff that I'm doing and not doing.
Yeah. Well, this kind of seems like it kind of links into what you were saying before about kind of you'd rather know like the truth than remain blissfully ignorant. But by pressing the button and someone else does it for you,
Yeah.
and maybe I'm wrong here, but it kind of feels like you're choosing the blissful ignorance because you know that you wouldn't want to do it if it was you.
Yeah, I guess I am. Yeah, would you look at that, guys? We're really not that consistent at all. Yeah, that's true.
Well, something to think about. I mean, I appreciate I'm putting you on the spot here.
No, that's cool because it's, I'm not going to be like, change my answers now. Yeah, you caught me. That's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, my goal isn't to get like a gotcha moment.
No,
I really appreciate that you've been
Quite
like,
enlightening, actually.
oh, well, that's great. 'Cause I mean, I really appreciate how honest you've been in this conversation.
Yeah, it's fun.
And like what you've been saying is like, I know some people you talk to in life kind of just say things.
Oh, yeah, no, people should try the whole honesty thing. I think it saves you some time.
I agree, and it's
Yeah.
more interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
But awesome. I'd love to get your email address and maybe follow up with you in a few months.
Sure, I'm down, yeah.
I will give you this pen.
Yeah, my hands are cold,
Yeah,
actually.
sorry, it's fucking
That's
freezing.
true. Sweet, that was fun.
Yeah, really good talking to you, man.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Jack, yeah?
Yeah. What's your name again, Michael?
Michael.